Hey everyone, thanks for joining us once again. I am Ari, and as always, I'm here with Foti Stamos, who I'm going to introduce in a second. But let me tell you guys, we have a really cool review today. I've never tried this wine. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard some really cool descriptions from Foti. But we are going to pop it live, and we're going to review it with you guys. So stay tuned for that. And let me introduce the man of the hour, Foti Stamos. Hello, Foti.
Yeah, so Ari, thank you so much for that great introduction. I'm doing great. And I'm doing even better when we do our wine reviews because I get to try wine.
Yeah, and I wish, in this whole pandemic, we've been doing a lot of these recordings, but I really wish the pandemic would be over, not for the sake of people and their health and the kids or whatever, so I could get back there so I could start tasting these wines with you.
Well, if the dictionary had the word selfish written out in a different description, they'd put your face on it.
Yeah, but you know what? Once people see these wines and hear about them, they're going to agree with me. They're going to be like, yeah, I got to get some of that wine.
On that point, what I want to say is that we're super excited to have the exclusivity of this very, I would call it rare, and possibly for some of us that are not familiar with orange wine, obscure wine.
So you say rare, and you said the word exclusive. So if somebody wants to buy this wine, they're coming to us.
They got it. Yeah. So we scored a nice small allocation of this wine that we're going to be reviewing, and it's only available on our platform online to purchase. Yes, let me just let's correct this, that maybe you could find it in some markets like New York City, maybe Chicago, depending on what's left. But for those of you that are not in those areas and either you're looking for it, you come across it, we're the guys to go to.
That sounds good to me because we try to make the shopping experience so simple and straightforward, and we've been seeing a great turnaround of people now shopping exclusively with us, and we just want to keep that going. And now we have this really cool exclusive wine that you can't find readily available, but we can ship it right to your door.
Yeah, we make it happen.
All right, so let's see what this wine is all about. Give us a little bit.
So let's start off with the fact that the wine hails from the Douloufakis winery out of Crete, and we've had the Douloufakis lineup on our portfolio on both Greekazon and Greek Wine Club for quite some time.
Yeah.
But we also did a nice little segment not too long ago on the people behind the wine renaissance of Greece today, and Douloufakis happens to be one of them.
Okay.
Very reputable, well-respected biodynamic producer in Crete, has revived a nice variety of grapes from Crete that were thought to be extinct.
Ooh.
Vidiano, I think, being one of them. And what's even cooler is that they're actually progressing into the, I hate to use the word trend, but it is become trendy today with, the natural wine process, the approach to making wine with very minimal intervention.
Well, look, if you just launched a winery just now and you start doing everything natural, whatever, then you're jumping on the trend. If these people were doing it already,
yes,
they are part of the trend, but they are more of the trendsetters than the trend followers.
Very good point. I'm glad that you broke it down like that, because that sounds a lot better. But what we're going to be trying is a wine that has some multiple cool factors. So number one, it's an orange wine. And what does that mean? Basically, white wine that's produced with obviously white grapes, where they let the skins ferment with the juice together. Whereas typically, normally, skins are removed during the fermentation. It's unfiltered, so there's no filtering process with any animal byproducts. And it ferments in these cool clay amphora vats, which they use the clay from their own soils in their vineyards.
Oh, wow.
Right. So that's like a double whammy right there.
That's just sounds so, like, for people who are interested in natural, It just sounds so good.
I feel like I'm back in like, ancient Greece.
Can I ask you like seriously, not to change the subject, and let's just take like 10
Sure.
seconds. If you went back 1,000 years and you tried wine in Greece, would it be something that you'd like spit out and like keel over, or would you actually think it was good?
So the methods back then, from what I understand, was yes, wine was made in its natural state, which is pretty aggressive, abrasive, and harsh.
Oh, I
And
wish
that
I was there.
comes from the levels of tannins and acidity. But from what I understand, that a lot of wine was actually diluted with water before serving.
Oh, okay. Because like I'll watch TV shows and like Game of Thrones or something, and all they do is drink wine in Game of Thrones. And I always think to myself, in ancient Greece or in medieval times, like, what was that wine like? Would I like it more? Would I like it less? I mean, I'm assuming probably like it less, but maybe it's something that, once you get accustomed to, you'd like really like it.
Yeah, I think that I'm sure the palates of those times were a lot different than today.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I've thought about that too. And what's it like to be drinking wine of those times? Maybe we can emulate that someday.
Oh, that would be that right there is a good idea for a segment.
But you'd have to wear a toga.
I'm gonna wear a toga. I'm gonna do it all up.
There you go. But a lot of what's happening today is bringing us back to our roots. No pun intended. But there is something to be said about natural winemaking processes, because it's also a health factor at the same token. It's not just a cool factor, right? So let me just bring the bottle in view of the camera just to show you that this is white wine. It doesn't look like white wine, right? Does it? So this is basically white wine that's been had its impact with skin contact over the course of a couple days. So it looks like it's bruised. What I mean by bruised is the same effect you get when you cut into an apple, and then as the apple just takes its time, it turns color.
Yeah.
Sort of the same effect here. So I haven't popped it yet. I was waiting to pop it on camera.
Well, I just want people to let go of what they feel about color.
Yes.
And just start looking at orange wine as, when you see that orangey color, you're getting something natural and good.
Let's do a little pop ceremony here.
Wow. He's a professional.
Oh, immediately.
So, tell us.
I mean, I get a lot of earthiness, a lot of like funk. Funk is the word I like to use in these descriptors. But I also pick up a lot of like richness. Something is like ripe in here. But earthiness, funk, and ripeness.
I'm gonna make a band, and that's what I'm gonna call it.
Let's see if we can.
Earthy, funky ripeness. Look at that.
Now, as I pour it into the glass,
it almost looks like cider or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say apple juice, but it's darker than apple juice.
Yeah.
Now that I poured it, now I'm getting a lot more aromas. I'm getting more aromas of like overly ripe fruit.
So is that something you enjoy?
Yeah, I'm also I kind of feel like it's tethering that like pruned, dried fruit element.
Yeah.
But the aromas are deep here. Not like this. It's not vibrant. If that makes any sense. With white wine, you get like this freshness. You get vibrancy. Here, you get like a very mellowish, lingering aroma of like deepness.
I feel like the whole thing is like something like rustic or to that effect.
I can the viscosity here and the density here, I can just sense is just gonna like really it's like how lava flows like very slowly, but it's capturing. But that's pretty much of my reporting on the aromas.
Okay.
Let's take a sip, Ari.
Do it.
Mm. Wow.
Now, have you ever had this before?
No, this is my first
Wow.
sip of
Okay.
Douloufakis Vidiano Amphora wine, which is basically their skin contact fermented in amphora.
All right. So tell
So
us about that sip.
this is definitely decadent for white wine. And what I mean by decadent is that the the deepness of the aromas follow through with the flavors and the textures. So very round textures, like they're coating my palate. It's almost creamy-ish without the flavor of cream. It's just the texture is creamy.
Wow.
And on the finish, I get some tannins too, which is interesting for a white wine,
Yeah.
which you normally get in the red wines. But because of skin contact, the tannins from the skins are being extracted here. So there's presence of the tannins in the wine. But I'm getting, again, very dark flavors of overripe peaches, overripe stone fruit. Um, I don't want to say it doesn't taste like there's no honey here, but something in the textures remind me of honey.
Really?
Is that that's kind of
I mean,
strange, but
the descriptions are important, but you also describe it in a way that really makes me curious to try this wine.
yeah, and it's not too over. So I've had plenty of orange wines from around the world, and it's not overpowering as far as a sense of this intensity of, the overripe or fruit or the amount of tannins that are in this wine. They're still pretty well balanced, if I can say, because by smelling and looking at it, I'm assuming I'm going to dig into something that's really deep, rich, full. But this tends to be a little more balanced on all different elements of aromas, flavors, and textures.
Oh.
I mean, forgive me, but I need another sip.
So we're gonna
So
before we finalize our project of well, I won't even mention it, but we're working on a project to rate wines. But what would you say, this is natural?
yeah, so our so not, to give a little bit of a preview, our rating is, how close does a wine get to being as natural as possible, right?
Yeah.
And it's definitely, biodynamic. There's minimal intervention in this process.
Which
They
is
might
great.
hit it with a little bit of sulfur right before they bottle. They grow organically. The winery is also part of sustainable practices. No synthetic sugars, no chemicals, no additives, blah, 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 and on, right?
So if you're into, natural wine, this is a
You
good
know,
one for you, right?
yeah, and we want to use a scale, but this would be right at this close to the scale of being, a fully rated, fully qualified, healthy wine.
Wow.
Is that a little bit of what we're trying to get at without giving too much information?
Yeah, it's greenness, it's eco-ness, it's eco-friendliness,
Hmm.
it's sustainability, it's all of that. All of that is what we want. And I love wines that fall into any of those categories. Not because specifically, that's all I'm into taste-wise, but for me, wine is an experience. This has been a long time coming. Now I truly feel it. It's an experience, and the experience that I want is natural, organic, biodynamic, sustainable, because that feeds into the whole category of what I love, and that makes it all the more attractive to me.
And I want to make another point real quickly. We want to source products from responsible producers,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same token, I think it's our job to be responsible drinkers.
Absolutely.
So
If every drinker was responsible, there would only be responsible producers.
that's why you should drink responsibly.
Yes. I like that. We should do something with that.
Wow,
All
this is
right,
going
well,
on.
that's excellent. I am super curious. I can't wait to come up there. So,
Yeah, and then for those that do watch this clip, just be aware there's limited inventory of this special wine.
yes.
So we encourage you to actually just get a bottle. I mean, that's, we just want folks to actually experiment and have a little bit of an adventure in their selections. And this definitely happens to be right up that alley of adventurous.
Could I be a Debbie Downer for a second?
No.
If you buy one of these wines and you really like it, you're gonna have a heck of a time finding it because it's very rare and it's exclusive.
But
and
that would give us more ammunition to give us your feedback that you need to find more great orange wine, which we'll pass that over to the winemakers and get them on the ball of making better, not better because they make great wine, is to make more of
Yeah.
this type of wine.
all right, good. So we went from Debbie Downer to positivity Frank over here. But I mean, everything you say is true. And when you drink responsibly, there'll be more responsible wine out there for us to partake in. And it's good for you and it's good for the environment. It's good for everybody.
Excellent.
So
There you have it.
awesome. I can't wait to try it. Thank you, Foti, for popping a bottle.
Thank you for letting me
Maybe
jump
our
on.
customers will be mad at you because when we run out and sell out, they're gonna be like, "What about that bottle Foti popped?" And I'll be like, "That's not that's
Well,
out of my hands."
in response to that, then I'll do my job to find more orange wines.
All right, see, positivity, Frank, coming in. All right, thanks everybody for watching and listening. Stay tuned for our next clips coming soon. We're always recording, and Foti, as always, thank you so much for all the info.
Cheers.
Cheers.